Okay, welcome back everybody to the third episode of No Filter Needed. Today we've got someone new. Would you like to
Hello.
introduce yourself?
I'm Sanjana. I currently work as an account manager for an ESG firm, and alongside that, I am a soon-to-be author, and I'm writing a book for people within their early career. So yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know how I was able to get it onto the podcast, so that's a mystery in itself. This just shows keep trying, you'll find somebody.
Thank you.
I mean, it's a big thing. You're becoming an author. I've got questions like last time people. I'm not risking it. The first episode I had nothing prepared.
Oh no.
I was rushed and
That's not
I feel like I messed up, but it still became a decent episode.
Yeah.
But this time I'd rather not take that risk.
Yeah.
It's been 3 episodes. I should be learning something
Yeah.
right now.
No, that makes sense.
But your book, Breathe, Then Go Again,
Yes.
as well as your podcast, The
Yes.
Corporate Girl.
Yes.
I did go through them. I was a bit nosy
Mm-hmm.
just to see if I could get some notes on you.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be on that podcast. I mean, I'm not a
You
girl,
can be on
but
it.
I don't mind.
Of course you could be
It's
on it.
2025. I can pretend to be a
No,
girl.
no, it's actually for all genders.
Yeah,
So
that is good. But let's talk about your early career.
Yes.
Your own early career, because obviously your book is about how you can help people through their early career if they're struggling mentally, physically. How was your early years like? Like, what was the experience?
It was an interesting experience. I think when I first came out of uni, so I have a degree in psychology, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I had a bit of experience on placements throughout university, but they kind of put me off going down the psychology route. So, for example, I worked on a suicide hotline, which is very intense for a 21-year-old.
Very much. So.
Because you kind of have someone's life in your hands, right?
And a lot of the stuff they're going through, sometimes people do start relying on it or overthinking it.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's a tough job. Like, hats off to that.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, like, kudos to anyone who does it. But unfortunately, I just couldn't, because I wasn't able to separate my home life with my work life. And that's quite important for me. And then, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I was kind of just looking around. And because psychology is quite a broad topic, I kind of realized that I really like the client side. I have quite good social skills as it is. So maybe that's the way to go. And then I kind of fell into sales. So I went into recruitment for about a year and a half. And now I work as an account manager. So to be honest, my first role wasn't great. I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest.
I mean, that's understandable.
And I think it was borderline toxic as well, which I didn't realize at the time.
A lot of UK workplaces are very toxic. So
They are.
I can relate with that feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that the KPIs were really harsh because, as a salesperson, you kind of have to be good at that. But also, I just think that they weren't very understanding in that aspect. So to be honest, I realized that it wasn't really for me through those signs, because I felt like I was getting to the point where I was about to get burnt out because, I was staying late. I was doing, many things. But I also felt like I wasn't being appreciated for the work that I was doing. I did to an extent, I think, within my first 6 months. But I feel like after you've passed your probation, there was kind of a switch up where they kind of expect you to just know exactly what you're doing and you're not allowed to make mistakes. And I did have a few micromanagers on the way, which is, again, an interesting experience because having had that as my first role and someone, micromanaging, it's tough.
Ironically enough, I had that in all my roles.
Really?
I'd start off good, then I just on purpose started becoming lazy and lazier and lazier.
Yeah.
Until I had like 2 managers constantly keeping an eye on me.
Really, to be honest, I mean, with the micromanager, I did talk to my director about it because I thought maybe switching teams would help.
Yeah.
But then you kind of got the other side of it as well.
Right.
And I think, it might just have been the industry that I was in. I know recruitment's a lot like that. And to be honest, a lot of people that I've spoken to have said that it's kind of just a job to get your foot in the door. And then later on, you kind of move on to something else. But I kind of realized that it wasn't rewarding enough for me as a job. That's
it's like the cons outweigh the pros.
Yes. Yeah. Hugely.
But honestly, I feel like those kinds of moments in your in your career, those do tend to shape which direction you're going to end up going. Because, like you said, sales. I did sales for about 2 months. I thought it was fun for the longest time because obviously you go, you just you make your sales, you get a pitch. Plus, we all dressed up in suits, so I really did enjoy that part.
Nice.
But it got to a point where it wasn't really fulfilling.
Yeah.
It was more work than it was a benefit to myself. So I can truly do understand where you're coming from with that. Other than that, what were like your corporate struggles with, and like how was your mental health during this entire like experience?
I mean, I think within like the first 6 months to a year, it was okay. And then I came to a point where I was doing the work, but I wasn't reaping the rewards. You know, I think when you first join, they make you feel really included and things like that. But then it came to a point where I just started feeling like a number. And I realized that it wasn't rewarding enough. It was just too transactional for me because I would speak to the client once they got them the job.
Yeah.
And then I would barely speak to them again. And I just realized that I want to do something that makes more of a difference to people. So yeah, mental health, I think, definitely declined. And I kind of wish that I had someone who was able to tell me or warn me that what the signs were when you start depleting. But yeah, it was definitely a lesson.
It was a good learning curve.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the positive way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
But like obviously, like you said, you worked on a suicide hotline.
Yeah.
Something I didn't know myself, even though I tried to find that information on the internet.
Yeah.
You failed me, internet. You really did. But how was that experience? Like I know obviously it's a very difficult topic as well.
Yeah.
Talking about suicide, self-harm, all that stuff. And when you're trying to help somebody else, even though like if you're not in a mentally like in a good space, how do you think that would have been like? Like, were you in a good headspace during that job? How did it impact you when you left it? What like were you scarred, traumatized, anything like that?
I think it was definitely overwhelming for someone my age who didn't really have a lot of training as well. We were kind of told that we're not able to provide advice because obviously we're not clinically a therapist. But I think that it was definitely a good learning experience. But I just think that for someone that young, I think it's a bit too overwhelming. So, for example, to be honest, even my family said that my personality kind of started changing when I was doing this role because it was during COVID as well. I had to do it from home.
Oh, yeah,
and I think with the timings of it, like I was working a shift from like 12 to 8 p.m. So obviously you're going to have a range of people who are calling you. And there comes to an extent where you can try and talk to someone, but if they don't want to listen to what you want to say, then you can't really help them.
Yeah.
But also on the other side, I think it was really, really rewarding as well. And I don't regret not doing it. But I think I actually left the placement early and I went to find another one because I just realized that it wasn't for me. And someone actually called me back the next day after I would say basically saved their life because I called the police because they told me like what was happening and I managed to get her name and she actually called me back the next day to say like thank you for saving my life, which is incredible. Like it's so rewarding.
That's such a rewarding feeling.
But
we can't downplay the fact that you saved somebody's life. I mean, that's actually amazing.
Thank you.
But how did you feel like when that call ended? You weren't sure if or what had happened. What was going on your end? Obviously, this is taking it away from the actual conversation, but I'm very curious about this now.
I think in that moment, I kind of felt quite grateful and I just felt like it kind of motivated me to keep going, basically, because it kind of showed me that my work was paying off. But yeah, for me personally, it was just the guilt of not knowing if someone is still alive or not, and that's just
because that is on your conscience.
Yeah, it is.
Like I was the last person
who spoke to them.
She spoke to them.
Yeah, like is there anything I could have said? Like I feel like, to be honest, even the what if question that anyone asks when they're overthinking is the worst thing that you can do, because if you open up that question,
oh no,
it's
no,
it's not good.
It does not end well for anybody.
Yeah.
The next thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that you'd mentioned the loss of your dog.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? I've had pets. I have a very cute cat, and he has been unwell for the past couple of weeks. So I feel like I could understand, but I haven't lost a pet to say that I would understand.
Yeah.
How is that feeling? Because I feel like I need to get ready for it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like first of all, there's nothing that really prepares you for it, and also I think when it happens in a corporate setting, it's a little bit weird just because I feel like some people will never understand. You know, some people are going to be
People
like,
who
oh,
haven't
it's
had
just a
pets or
dog.
haven't had that kind of
Yeah.
an attachment, like
They
it's a
just,
proper bond.
yeah.
You really you like feel like he's a part of your, he or she is a part of you or your family as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I did feel a little bit of that where, you know, I could really understand, I could really tell like who actually cared for me and, you know, who knew that I was grieving. But also, I think within the work that I was doing, I kind of felt guilty for taking time off. And I think also that is a really big red flag. Like if something happens within your life and you need to take some time off work, you should never feel guilty about taking that time off. And I think, you know, if anything was to happen within this job, I know that they would just tell me to go and like just take some time for myself.
Yeah.
Whereas in my previous job, like I took 2 days off and then I was back to work and it was like nothing happened.
Yeah. Not a lot of workplaces are like sensitive in that manner.
Yeah.
So you found a good one.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, because obviously not everybody can actually understand what it feels like, especially about pets. Because obviously a lot of people do get motivated by their pets. Like you come home, you're tired, you're drained, you're burnt out. You go play with your pets.
Yeah.
You get a bit of energy. You've got that pending task. You just power through or something like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it is a rough thing to go through.
Yeah.
I hope my cat gets better.
I hope so too.
I don't think he wants to because he keeps doing the same stuff I keep stopping him from. So I have no idea where that one's going.
Gosh.
You can find out on my story later on if he hopefully lives.
Oh gosh.
Tell me about the book. So when did you get the idea that you want to write this book?
So because I've got the podcast, I think it was always kind of a big dream that I wanted to happen. However, I didn't really know how I was going to get there. And interestingly enough, I was actually reached out to about the book. So I was in touch with someone from my previous work, and she is a career coach. So we're actually co-authoring on the book. And she reached out to me and she said, I saw this podcast that you're doing. And she said, basically, she's within her 40s, I think. So she said, I feel like it would be good to have someone within your age range who can give their opinion on these topics. So yeah, she just asked me, is this something that you'd be interested in? And I think having done the podcast really helped me because I had heard people's opinions of the challenges that they faced within work. Yeah. And obviously I had my own as well.
So you got a bit of a diverse look into like yours, others, like you got a full on view of what actually goes on for everybody behind different backgrounds.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, honestly, like I feel like I've been so incredibly grateful and lucky. And of course, it is coming out next year. But yeah, it's been a lot of hard work. So I started in Jan actually, and my final deadline is in December. And then yeah, it'll be out next year.
I'm excited for it, and it might be the first book I purchased since I've moved to
London.
I refuse to. If it's a movie about it, I'd rather go for that.
Yeah.
But if I have to read the book, then I might as well read it. Yeah. But I am excited for it. I will be getting it.
Thank you.
And actually, I'll post a full-on review.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Because it'll be amazing. Because I myself, obviously, I'm not a big creator.
Yeah.
I'm starting out myself. I'm going through the ups and downs, and see like how my problems compare, like, oh, I don't have a proper camera, stuff like that, to like what the people have, or other people face like in an office setting, just on their own, like a student and stuff like that. Because I sometimes do think of myself like I'm a bit of a drama queen. I kind of panic over stuff that to the third person would be like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big thing with me. Like I do that constantly, but my family has told me as well. Yeah. That you kind of focus on the wrong part.
Really, I think to be honest, like when you go into the working world, you are going to make mistakes, and there's definitely going to be things that you panic about. And even on a daily basis, I definitely panic about things. But I think I've just learned to manage it better. And for some reason now, there's kind of like a switch in my head. So if anything bad happens, or if I start panicking about something, automatically my brain just goes into like it'll be okay, and you've just got to work through it. And also you need to remember that it's not the end of the world if you've made a mistake. Obviously you should try and learn from your mistakes if you've made them a few times, but also if you're making a mistake, you're still young, you're still learning, and I don't think that your company should be that harsh on them, as long as you're not kind of losing the money, or obviously if you're saving a life, that's completely different. But Yeah.
Well, I get that. Oh my God, I had a question, I forgot it. This is what I mean by like unfiltered. Like this is going to be this can
It's
be a part
okay.
of it. That's what I feel like I enjoy as well as a
Yeah.
creator.
It's
Instead of
better.
hiding parts of it.
Yeah.
And my question is back.
Yeah.
When you feel like that, when you're feeling down, you're burnt out, obviously. What's like your go-to routine? Like a specific like snack? You do some stuff, breathing, meditation. Um, like what's your like cure or anti-burnout method?
It's a good question, and I think everyone's quite different, right?
Yeah.
So
So
depending on if you're introverted or extroverted, there's going to be different hobbies that you have. So for example, I really like yoga, and I've just started boxing, which is really good. I think my work has a lot of benefits as well. So all of these classes that I do are for free because there's a gym included, and I think that's really important to do alongside work, but also just making sure you actually stay in touch with family and friends, because I know that life can get overwhelming and things just get
definitely.
in the way. But I think just having a friend there to be able to speak to if something's gone wrong can be really useful because they can bring you clarity. But also, I think it's a lot on you as well as to what you do, because you can tell your friend or they can tell you whatever they want, right, to try and make you feel better. But really and truly, you're the only one who can make yourself feel better. So things like self-help books have been massively helpful as well.
Have you read a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
Yes, I have.
Well, I actually want to get your opinion on that because obviously that is classified in a way
Yes.
as a self-help book.
Yeah, yeah.
I've read it as well. I found it quite eye-opening, to be
Yeah,
honest, because
yeah.
I was quite extroverted up until I would say 5 years ago. For some reason, like I was extroverted, then I became introverted, and now I'm back to being extroverted. So
Really?
I feel like I'm coming around that corner where I'm gonna go back to being introverted. But when I was in that phase, like
Yeah.
I did feel a lot down. Like self-help books, mostly they're just trying to promote something or more of a like they're trying to sell you something in a
Yeah.
way that oh you could try this, you could do that, and like the actual story they're trying to tell it isn't painted correctly,
Yeah.
which is something I'd seen a lot. With that book, I did find it quite like I found it relatable to myself, and it was a good book. But like what I'm trying to ask is the fact that when you were deciding on your book,
Yeah.
did you take any inspiration? Did you like have a moment of like, oh, this person that in this self-help book tried to explain this, but he couldn't get his point across. Like, let me try and do it for him in a way. Because obviously,
Yeah.
you people, yeah, and that's nothing to be ashamed of as well. Like, because obviously, a lot of people make mistakes.
Yeah.
Something I'm doing in this podcast, somebody bigger than me is gonna be like, oh, that was a dumb move. He shouldn't have
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
that. You learn.
Yeah.
You're making it better for others. So
Yes.
that's a double win situation there.
Yeah, for sure. I think, to be honest, I think that book was quite interesting. I'm not sure if I would say it was the best self-help book I've read, only because I think that he was kind of stating the obvious.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because I've read a lot of self-help books. So for me personally, it didn't help me. But maybe for someone who's a beginner within self-help journeys, it might help more. But what I'm trying to achieve within this book particularly is giving people like real world examples. So I've asked a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues within my age range, have you experienced burnout? What's your experience of networking? How has your mental health been affected within the workplace? Because I think that those real raw stories are what people want to be hearing about. And particularly if you are a young person who's experiencing any of these, it's quite comforting to know that there are other people within that position and how they overcome those as well. And then on the other hand, I'm also going to be putting activities into the book. So for example, a growth versus fixed mindset. So what we'll do is you'll basically get a table and you have to write down a challenge that you might be facing, and then you use the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset to see what your different outcomes would be, and then whichever one you want to go with is probably the best one to go with.
That works for your situation the best, basically.
Yeah.
That would be fun because obviously I haven't seen a book like that since I was like 5 years old,
Really?
which has like an activity inside.
Wow.
That speaks a lot about me not reading books more than it does about anything else.
Yeah.
But that is a smart thing because obviously when you people do tend to see things in like I would say 2-3 different lights. Like
Yes.
when you're initially having a thought, you have a different idea of what's it going to be. You have the second thought, different. kind of, and I feel like that's a good thing. Like you write down and you compare your ideas. You compare like, okay, is this what I want to go with or
Yeah.
that? But what if someone's undecisive? What about that? Do you think about that part?
Um, I mean, if I was to ever do another book again, that's probably something that I would add.
You would want to tackle how.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think, for example, with the growth versus fixed mindset, there are going to be people who are just going to completely go down the fixed mindset.
Yeah.
But also, I think that is really on the person to make that decision, because if you've got two answers in front of you, one which is positive and one which is negative, if you decide to go down the negative route, then that's kind of a challenge that you are going to struggle with. And at that point, I would suggest maybe going to like a career coach or someone like that who would actually be able to give you clarity as to why you're struggling with these challenges.
Mm. Speaking about career coach, would you ever consider yourself doing that in the future? Do you see yourself maybe ditching the corporate life? Like literally become an influencer. You grow your podcast and in the self help coach. Would you think that's in the book at all?
I think,
Like
yes,
that's
definitely.
a page that you might want to maybe someday revisit.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have a degree within psychology anyway, and one of the chapters is about mindset and mental toughness anyway. So
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something that I would like to do. I'm not sure if it would be something that I'd want to do full time though, just because I know that within that space it's very competitive and it's very, very hard to get to the top. So from a stability perspective,
That is
I
most
think
smart
that
move.
having the job that I've got at the moment, it's so good. And, like there's so many opportunities which are opening up for me. And also, I think it's good to have a side hustle alongside your workplace. So, for example, with the book, I've obviously told everyone at work about it. So that's given me so much exposure. And I don't even think I would have got this opportunity if it wasn't for the job that I was in previously. So I think it's really important to kind of continue with the job that I've got at the moment, but also I would love to do kind of TED Talks. There's so many goals that I'm going to have on my vision board for next year, like Forbes 30 under 30, those kind of things.
Hopefully.
And yeah, like even, just going out there, having talks, doing some kind of coaching for young people within these big organizations. That is kind of the route that I'd like
I feel
to
like
take.
people do also tend to listen more. So obviously, like you said, you're interested in doing a TED Talk. Amazing. I've seen a bunch of TED Talks as well, but I don't take as much from, say, a really big person that I do like a mid or a small creator, because I'm like, okay, this person has been through those struggles. Obviously, the big creators have as well, but they just feel less relatable.
Yeah.
Because how you see them on the internet, on social media. I feel like that would be a good thing, especially if you're trying with the younger generation,
Yes.
the early
Yeah.
young adults basically, who listen to absolutely no one.
Yeah.
So it'd be a challenge, definitely. But
Yes.
I feel like you'd enjoy this kind of challenge,
think
trying
so.
to convince people to listen to you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also, like, if you're able to relate to someone because they're the same age as you, or even because I'm a person of color, that's definitely one big thing that I'm going to be trying to advertise. I think there's not enough authors who are women, and first of all, are also a person of color as well.
Yeah.
So I think having that will also help me to be able to relate to, those young Asian women and men as well.
Yeah, because not because oh my god, again. When you're saying something, I'm also
I know.
trying to think as the conversation's going on, and I'll get a question, but then the next point starts, and my brain's like, okay, erase,
No, it's
restart.
okay.
I'm
No,
like,
that
why?
makes sense.
Yeah. Oh my god, again. I have honestly the worst memory when it comes to
It's
this.
okay.
But what I was trying to think about is so when you obviously you're going to go into that situation, you're making your TED Talks, you've achieved your goals, right?
Yeah.
What do you think would be your next project? What would be your next target? So, like you said, your vision board,
Yeah.
TED Talks, trying to literally introduce the young adults into the real world. What it's going to be like after university, because a lot of people they tend to spend half their uni years partying, the last half studying.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
So they don't really know what to expect
Yeah.
post education. So that's obviously what you've got in mind. So what would your goal be afterwards? Because obviously I know I'm asking 2 years plan, but I feel like when a person reaches one part of their goal, the next they keep it big but also achievable. Like they know, okay, I'm sure of myself that I can get this in a year.
Yes.
But after you achieve that, what would you think you'd want to do?
I think I do have some milestones that I'd like to achieve. So, for example, Amazon bestseller. I think, to be honest, it's quite high up in the order anyway, in the ranking.
Yeah.
I think because I've just been telling friends and family to be pre-ordering. But at the moment, I think it's like number 11 within learning and development books, which is a lot higher than I was expecting it to be already.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, I think being, within the top 10 or bestseller on Amazon, maybe like a New York's best-time seller, and then mainly just getting the word out there. So trying to do more talks, because I would say I am extroverted and I'm definitely a confident person. But when you get up there on a panel in front of 100 people, there's always going to be that element of doubt, or, you're always going to be scared or freaking out inside. So that's definitely something I want to improve upon. And this is something that my old manager said to me as well. She said that I want you to just get yourself out there and start doing more talks. So I think this will definitely give me more exposure to that. And then hopefully I can also start doing a bit more traveling with the book as well, because the book will be available in America as well. So it'll be available on Target. So
you heard it here, people.
Yeah.
But do you think you'd ever want to go, say, back to Pakistan or anywhere? Like I said, Pakistan, I'm from Pakistan.
Yeah.
But, do you get what I mean? Like back home, would you think about maybe sharing the book, of not just selling the book, obviously, like having the seminars, doing the same thing like you were trying to do here?
Yes, definitely. I think that the book is applicable worldwide. And again, as someone who is a brown author, I think the main target audience probably would be India. But I also think that Western versus Eastern cultures are very different. So I'm not sure what workplaces are like in India in comparison to here. So I'm not sure if I'd be able to advise as well, but it's definitely something I'd like to try and do.
But I feel like overall it's kind of the
same.
Like obviously you go in depth into those problems. There's obviously a million different situations and scenarios, but the base idea would be like you could use that just to relate with the India. In India, sorry, not India.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, now I've got a few questions here because I ran out of questions on my own. So
nice.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
This is why
it's good.
I need these questions.
I'm glad you're doing it.
Okay, one question is, why do workplaces fail at mental health? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Why do workplaces? Sorry, what?
Like they suck at focusing on mental health of the colleagues, co-workers, and.
I think that it's because they prioritize the money too much more than anything. They see workers as a number and they don't really want to try and get to know someone on a personal level. And I think that's where it fails, because the more you try to make someone feel included, the harder they're going to want to work for the company. Because I honestly put my heart and soul into the work that I do, and it's because I feel valued as a person and I get the recognition that I deserve for it. And I think that's the trick that a lot of corporate companies are missing, particularly like, for example, the Big Four. If you're a graduate going into one of those, it can be quite daunting. And even within the book, I do mention there's this guy who actually previously worked at EY and Deloitte, and he basically just hated it because it wasn't really what he enjoyed, but also they didn't really give him the recognition that he deserved. Right. So yeah, I feel like that really affects your mental health, particularly because, for example, as well, my old manager, every single catch up that we had every week, he always kind of said, well done, or gave me some kind of affirmation. And I think it's so important as a manager to be able to do that for a young person, because they just want reassurance that they're doing a good job, you know? And even if it's something small that they're doing, I think giving them that reassurance is so important. So, yeah.
That's perfect. Honestly, I feel like my opinion on that would be the fact that people they don't care about each other in London, especially. Like, have you ever picked up on that? You're just walking on the road.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like people in general in London, especially, are nowadays very miserable. They hate everybody. Like everyone hates everyone for no apparent reason and for every apparent reason.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I think this is something that I'm trying to change throughout the book as well. There's a lot of young people who are like, oh, a job is just a job. I'm there for money. I'm not going to go and do anything extra for the job, But I think doing those extra things really help you out. And also, it's really important to be seen within your workplace to make sure that you're actually going above and beyond, because those are the people that are going to get promoted rather than the people who are just doing their job and then going home. For example, I mentioned networking within the book, and I think that's so important to do. And I do it myself, even if it's on a weekend, even if it's after work. It's something that I will do because you don't know what kind of connections that you're going to make. And they always say that it is who you know, not what you know. And now I'm learning to see that as well.
Nice to see that as well.
Yeah.
Because it is you. I feel like everyone nowadays is networking all the time. I'm networking at this current moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm proud of it. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
But obviously, when the more you go out, the more people you meet. It does, like you said, you get a network of people of your own, which is good. But when it comes to the workplace and getting promotions and going a little bit above and beyond, I feel like people would do that. They'd be more inclined to do that if, like you said, your manager does. He gives you small affirmations and everything like that.
Yeah.
Those go a long way, especially for the new guy in the office.
Yeah.
Like if he's being told, even by his coworker, not even by a manager, if you're given that a little bit of reassurance that relax, whatever you're doing, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or if you made a mistake, it's normal. You'll figure it out soon enough. It motivates the person to okay, I want to do a bit more extra. This isn't about money only for me now.
Yeah.
They'll make, like you said, they'll just start doing the networking and honestly, they later on pass that down as well. Like they learned that okay, because of this, did so well in my career. I want to help the next person after me who's going to join.
Mm-hmm. I agree. No, for sure.
It definitely does. Okay, what's the biggest misconception you think people have in their early careers? This is a good one.
That your job is going to be fun every day.
Oh, definitely.
I think the reason I say that is a lot of people think that university and workplaces are quite similar, and they think, oh, well, I'm not going to be doing the same task every day. And there's a lot of repetition involved within your workplace and the job that you do. And I think the most resilience that you build is when you are doing those repetitive tasks, because that's when you're able to kind of break through and try to open up new opportunities for yourself if you do well at that job.
Yeah.
But of course, you have to be able to prove yourself. And I think also, to be honest, my previous job, a reason that I did leave is because it was repetitive. And it's okay for that to happen. But also you need to recognize that you shouldn't just leave just because it's repetitive, you should definitely try and consider other options within that organization, or try and find other things that you can be doing within your workplace. For example, I'm part of the inclusion committee within my organization. So we have a look at, we try and create different events, culture events, basically. So for example, for Diwali, we did something like that, just because it helps people to feel included, but also it's not directly work included. Yeah. So yeah.
This gives a bit of sense of belonging in the workplace, which is quite important, especially with everything that's going on nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
So it does. I do think it does go a long way.
Yeah.
What was your biggest misconception when you started? What was yours? Because obviously you said that work won't be fun every day.
Yeah.
But what was the biggest misconception you had when you started out?
I think my biggest misconception was that everyone's going to be helpful. And I think why I say that is because I've previously in my old role, I've been to people before and they just don't really help you as much as they should be, and it's because of that competitive element. So I think I didn't realize, but everyone is kind of just trying to look after themselves within the workplace. But again, that just depends on the work environment that you work in. But yeah, that was just something I experienced, which is surprising.
I mean, it's normal. And at one point, when it starts feeling normal, I feel like that's when a person should be concerned, no?
Yeah, exactly. And I think particularly within corporate, it happens a lot more within corporate than it does in public sector.
Retail.
Or retail.
I can only say retail because I've only done retail. So
yeah.
The internet knows. And I was horrible at that as well.
Oh, God.
But I mean, not that bad. I would perform well for the first 8 months,
Yeah.
and then I just like on purpose start slacking. So fake calling six. When I actually come in, I'd pretend to be sick, so I'd get the easier tasks.
Really?
And what else did I do? Yeah, that's about it. That's pretty much what I did.
Okay.
But then I never got fired. I quit still, so I can still say that I was a good worker. Nobody can, and the company has to agree.
Yeah.
They can't say that I wasn't because I
Yeah.
didn't leave on my own volition.
Yeah. I think motivation is a big factor when you're
Oh,
going into the
definitely.
workplace, because otherwise you're
The
not
more
gonna do
entertained
your
you are at work during work or like during that break, you're having fun conversations with your
Yeah.
colleagues, even if it's just like at that,
Yeah.
just colleagues,
Yeah.
not friends. You're
Yeah.
just keeping it at that arm's length. If you're having that fun, it'll actually motivate you. Like you wake up the next morning, you get dressed, you're excited to go to the office, to meet, to do your work, and then
Yeah.
mess around with your like what everybody says work
Yeah.
besties.
Yeah.
But it's a good feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
I could never do that though.
No, same.
I can never sit in an office 24/7.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm too fidgety.
yeah, no. And again, I think that's why when you're first looking for your first job, these are kind of options that you want to consider. You know, how often do you have to go into the office? Is there any travel involved, like outside of London? And those are the things that will basically keep you motivated alongside what the role actually consists of.
Smart. I can't keep up, people. I'm not that I'm not that well educated. I'm more of a street smarts kind of guy.
I mean, to be honest, I'm still learning, so
I mean, you're learning technically every day, so
yeah, it's true. I think everyone's learning every day if they want to.
yeah. I was about to say that. If they refuse to, well, we tried.
Yeah, exactly.
We tried something.
Yeah.
My final question would be, it's like, what's one takeaway that you have for the audience? Like, what's one? Not even the audience. Say it like you're going back in time. You're just starting out. What's the one piece of advice you'd give younger you? Like,
just remember that everything works out, even when you think that it won't. And you like your career path is never going to be linear. So don't worry if you don't end up going into what your degree is related to, because you might not even have liked that in the first place. Don't compare yourself to others. That's definitely like that's not the
one.
route to go down.
I would stand by as well. Like, you shouldn't compare yourself to others.
You can't really compare yourself to others. You know, there might be someone who's done the same degree as you, who's actually doing something that is related to the degree, but you never really know if they enjoy it, whether they're still making them. Yeah, if they're happy, if their salary is even good, you know, that kind of stuff. So
I think I read it on Instagram or something. It was like everybody's on their own journey at their own pace.
yes.
So like that's something I had a bit of an issue with that when I first started on YouTube. I was putting a lot of hours and effort into my videos. I was like, why am I not getting the views? Why am I not getting the everything? And then I started to understand the fact that I'm where I am supposed to be, where I'm supposed to be at this time.
Yeah.
In this time and like this point in my life. Like, I'm not behind, I'm not ahead. I'm just where
you're supposed to be. And yeah, I think you need to also be able to appreciate where you've gotten, because honestly, I don't think I would have gotten to where I am with the book and the role that I'm in if it wasn't for my previous job. My previous job, even though I really didn't enjoy it, it taught me so much about hard work. And I think it's important to take those lessons with you wherever you go.
I've got a little funny question for you. What's one thing you'd like to say to your manager? Like, if he could see you now, what would you say to him? No consequences. No consequences. All bets are off. I want to see this. This answer is just gonna tell me how frustrated you were back when you were working with them.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think I'd have to say anything. I think I'd just pull up my LinkedIn profile to show them how well I've done, and just to show them that I did have the potential. Yeah, I think, to be honest, sometimes things are just better left unsaid, because I'm sure they can see how well I'm doing now and probably regretting the way that they treated me. So
yeah, or just making fun of you.
Well,
both are possibilities.
Yeah.
But still, one thing you'd actually want to say, because obviously people do have that kind of stuff. Like, I have stuff I would like to say to my former managers for certain situations, but I can't.
I think I would just say that I wish that you had a bit more hope and faith in me, because I think that goes a long way. But now I've seen the difference in managers. I know how I like to be managed. So
You found your little routine,
yes.
your little, what's that word? Circle, your
Yeah.
own little circle, and you feel you're happy with it.
Yeah, exactly.
See, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to ask.
Amazing.
Honestly.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, thank you so much
you.
for coming, and thank you again for waiting because I was 30 minutes late. Again, I was
It's okay.
late.
I am like early everywhere I go, so it's not a you thing.
I'm usually early.
Yeah.
Whenever I have to do the podcast, I leave an hour early.
Yeah.
And some way, I always end up an hour or 30 minutes late than the time given. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm having horrible luck with getting here for the podcast on time. But again, like I said, thank you so much for being patient with me as well. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yes, it was
and
great. Thank you.
Hopefully we're gonna see this book very soon.
Yes, it'll be out soon.
And hopefully I'm gonna be on Corporate Girl.
Yes.
Guys, I'm trying to force this on. Yeah. I'm gonna force this collab.
You definitely will. Yeah, for sure.
But again, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for joining in for this episode.
Thank you. See you.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.